Welcome to SacTown Underground. I'm your host, Tiffany G.
And I'm your host, Keith Joganatis.
Do we have a fabulous show for you? We're going to keep you current with Sacramento 365 to tell you everything going on in the month of May and June so that you can participate with us at SacTown Underground.
We also got a profile on a new restaurant in Galt called StreetzLan. It hasn't been open for more than a year, but already they're great cuisines with a street-style vibe compared with a Mexican twist. Have all the customers ranting and raving, Tiff.
That food is fabulous. I can't wait till we get to that. We also have a very encouraging story to keep you focused when times get rough. We're here to help you stand and keep pressing forward, and that's exactly what our story is going to do for you today.
We also have a profile on Upcycle with Shira Lane. It's a great company doing great work with the kids and robot technology. It's going to be something to see.
This is a show, family, you don't want to miss. Let's take a look at our calendar of events with Sacramento 365. Take a look.
May 16th through the 27th, an American in Paris at the Community Center Theater.
May 24th through the 28th, Sacramento County Fair 2018 at Cal Expo.
May 26th and May 27th, the Sacramento Asian Pacific Film Festival at California Museum.
June 2nd, Sacramento Taco Festival at the Boulevard, Del Paso. June 8th through the 10th, West States Horse Expo at Cal Expo.
June 9th and June 10th, Nichiren Church Japanese Food Bazaar and Rummage Sale at Sacramento Nichiren Buddhist Church.
June 10th, Sacramento Pride at Capitol Mall Greens.
June 23rd, the Lunar Lunacy Ride at Capitol Mall. And that was your Sacramento 365 to keep you up to date with all the news, headlines, and events that are currently coming up in the Sacramento area. Our next profile talks about a restaurant in Galt. StreetzLan has not been open for more than a year, but already their famous street-style food with a Mexican twist has customers out in the Galt area ranting and raving and begging for more and more. Our very own Sean Farmer went and talked to that new restaurant. Take a look.
Hi, this is Sean Farmer from the Coffee Shop Bakery, and we're here at the StreetzLan Street Food Project in Galt, California, located in Old Town, and I'm here with the owner, Eric. And this is a new business, just came to town a few months ago, really kind of bringing a kind of an urban vibe to the area. It's something that we don't have in Galt, and the food has just been met with phenomenal reception by the community. Everybody's raving about all the great things, and I personally have been here many times. It's awesome. So, Eric, tell us a little bit about the food here.
Like we like to say, it's just a little bit of us, bringing together our experiences, some of our experiences through the kitchen professionally, and also winding in with a little bit of our culture. You can see it through the food, you can see it through the menu. It's just, we call it Street Food Projects, we're just having fun with food. And just using a lot of local ingredients, a lot of local resources to bring fresh, clean, delicious food.
That's great. That's great. And the food presentation, as I was just showing our friends here from SacTown Underground, some of the pictures in the presentation was obviously is the one that's eye-catching. One thing that I've heard a lot of people talk about if you're into avocado is the avocado slayer. It's a fan favorite. I haven't personally tried that yet. I've had your king sliders, which are phenomenal. Tell us about the king sliders.
So the king sliders kind of came about. We were going to do one originally with foie gras, which is going back to my French training. But so what we did, we incorporated our bows that we were doing before. We took them off the menu because they were a little labor intensive, but now we've been getting a lot of people that want those, that kind of want that pork belly back. So what we did, we took a little bit of those bows, took that pork belly out, incorporated it into the burgers, and kind of did a whole little, kind of like little Asian Korean kind of flair to it, and I mean, just brought it together.
Tell us about your Facebook and Instagram.
So the Facebook and Instagram, you can check us out at StreetzLan Restaurant. We have our Instagram, we have our Facebook. You can look us up through Yelp, look us up through Google.
So come support local business. If you're here in Galt, if you live and you haven't tried it, you are missing out big time. If you're not from Galt and you're in the area, definitely come check it out. It's you will not be disappointed. So you have anything else we've missed that you want to talk about?
That's it. No, man, just come check us out. People have questions of what kind of food it is. I mean, I always tell people
it's hard to explain.
You got to come down, check it out, see what we're doing, and all the questions just fly out the window. I mean, we're just doing us, you know. So.
Right. Well, I appreciate your time, Eric. I know we're just before opening here for you, so I know you're busy out there back there prepping food and stuff. So I appreciate giving us a few minutes to come talk, and we appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. Sean signing off for SacTown Underground.
If you're looking for a story of redemption, do we have one for you? To keep you encouraged and pressing forward, our very own Jim T. Chong interviewed Miss Kathy Madden. Jim, take it away.
I want to go ahead and go way out to the Midwest and talk with Kathy Madden. She is the author of The Road Back. So thank you for joining us here today, Kathy. How are you doing today?
I am well, Jim. Thank you for having me on. And let me say to Chris, thank you for your service. He's an American hero.
Yeah, absolutely, you know. And I'll tell you, I'm so excited about just you stepping forward and just basically telling your story in The Road Back. And tell us a little bit about yourself. Just what brought you to the point of writing a book? What experiences in life prompted you to be able to put pen to paper?
Well, I had grown up here on the East Coast, actually, in Falmouth, Massachusetts. Normal, everyday, traditional upbringing with a mom and a dad and 3 sisters. And just before my senior year in high school, I lost my mom to cancer, which was pretty tough. But I managed to continue on, and I finished high school, and I graduated college and started a career and met a guy. And unfortunately, after 10 years of being in a relationship, he committed suicide.
Wow.
Which, again, really brought me to my knees. And at that point, I decided I needed to start to take some responsibility for some of the things I could control in my life. And that meant getting my motorcycle license and going out and buying a Harley Davidson Road King.
All right, do they pay you to say that? Harley Davidson?
No, they don't. No, they didn't.
Okay, great. Well, they owe you. They owe you big time.
There you go.
So, that is great. And we go through life, and I believe that as we experience life, sometimes we experience things that help strengthen us, but in an odd sort of way. They put situations in our path that make us need to just basically tell our story in a variety of different ways and go through a healing process. And tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, the title is The Road Back, and it literally is about my road back, my external journey of just seeing this country, which is an amazing place, and the people that I had met and places I visited, as well as my emotional road back, my internal journey, so to speak, and my own way of finding healing and peace and empowerment through all of my travels.
You know, I will tell you, that is the American dream. I mean, riding, first off, a Harley Davidson, because there is no sound like a Harley Davidson, going through a cross country. And I just wanted to ask you a little bit about it. If you could summarize what, just for your sense of healing, is there any other reason why you are writing the book?
Well, I had kept a journal. So the book had started as a journal that I had kept on all of my trips. making note of the roads had taken and the weather I had endured and people I had met in different places. And I think about December, late 2015, I lost my corporate job that I had had for 17 years. And again, another major setback in my life, but I decided to turn that into a positive somehow. And I'd always been somewhat of a storyteller. When people had asked me about my trips, I couldn't wait to tell them. So I sat down and turned my journal into something a little more readable for people. And 2 years later, after writing and editing and finding my publisher, it's become a reality.
Well, congratulations. Now, just touching your audience, of course, you probably had a vision in mind in terms of what you want to accomplish. What insights can a reader expect to get out of your book after reading your book? What sort of feeling, what sort of emotion, what sort of thoughts or information?
Well, I know that most of us have had some pretty life-altering tragedies occur, and everyone finds a way to cope somehow. Sometimes that may not always be a positive way of coping, but that's their choice. My choice, of course, was a little more unconventional by going out and learning how to ride an 800-pound motorcycle and taking off cross-country by myself. But what I'm hoping is that my journey will help others to cope better in a more positive light, and that it might inspire other people to find their own road back.
Ah, hence the title, The Road Back.
Exactly.
That's exciting. I think this is really great because, just in terms of people's stories, I know sometimes they tell it just to really help other people be inspired or learn something, experience something. So I appreciate you putting down your story, because a lot of people don't understand what it takes, especially if you've been through a lot, to really put down your story. But once they put down their story, they find that it's a sense of healing for them. And I just want to ask you a question here. Do you have a favorite part of your book that you can share?
Right off the top, there's a lot of it. I mean, I think the ending is probably where I tie it all together between it's mainly about my 2 trips cross country, because I did the first one to California and it was a very positive and enlightening trip. My second trip I took out to the Pacific Northwest was a lot of bad weather, rain, snow, cold. It was a lot more challenging. And the ending of the book pretty much brings it all together, where I survived basically all of these tests that were put in front of me. And it made me a stronger person and a better person. And I kind of think the person I am today.
Great. Well, I know you're on the verge of the launch of the book. Are people able to go anywhere? Do you have the website up or any reference to it being purchased? I know when we were talking about this at that time, you were preparing for the launch. Is that available yet, the book?
The book is available. My publisher is publishing it officially next week. As of right now, I have my email that people can purchase it through me, which is capecodbikegirl@comcast.net.
Can you spell that, please? Can you spell that?
CAPECODBIKEGIRL.
Okay, so it's Cape Cod what?
Bike Girl, BIKE, like bike.
Okay, got
like
it. Cape Cod Bike Girl at Comcast.net.
Comcast.net.
Wow, that is great. Hey, one thing I have to ask you here, unrelated to the book. All right.
Yeah.
They now, I heard this. I don't know if it's a true statement. They have this motorcycle, the choppers that people are used to, the big handlebars up, and people are riding them. I heard actually those are not very practical really to ride. It's more just for aesthetics. Is that true? They said they're very hard to control. Do you know anything about the choppers?
Somewhat. I know that, obviously the longer what they refer to as the rake on the front end,
Yes.
which means the farther out the front tire is from the handlebars, they are a little harder to control. The higher the handlebars are, it's a little harder to control. But everyone likes their own style. They all have their own different way of expressing themselves, and that's what part of this whole motorcycle life is about.
Wow. Well, I will tell you, it's very exciting. Thank you again for joining us. And so if you want to find out a little bit more about a journey and take a journey yourself, it's really an adventure across our nation here. You can go ahead again and contact Kathy Madden. And the book is The Road Back. She can be reached again at Cape Cod Bike Girl at Comcast.net. Thank you again for joining us, Kathy.
Thank you very much, Jim.
And thank you to Jim for a great story with Kathy Madden and such an inspirational tale. Our next story features a group that focuses on refurbishing and taking old materials to keep them out of landfills and turning them into something new. Upcycle Pop with Shira Lane takes artists who are taking all these items from airplanes, tanks, motorcycles, you name it, and make totally different new things with them. Not to mention, they have an after-school program with kids that focuses on robotics. Our own Caitlin sat down with them. Take it away, Caitlin.
And today I'm here with Shira Lane at the Atrium, and she's going to explain a program that's going to be coming up in the future. Shira, take it away.
So we are here at the Atrium, and the Atrium is where Upcycle Pop was, and where it still is. So the Atrium is made up of multiple different programs. So we have the Upcycle Pop Lab, which is where we are now, which is an artist co-working space. Also where we teach some classes, and we co-work together on upcycling different items from commercial companies here in Sacramento. And we also have an after-school program where we're going to be, it's called Unleashed Play, where kids from like 3:15 to 5:45 will be able to come and play. And we will have robotics, science, art, 3D modeling, and music. And kids will be able just to play from station to station. And while the kids are playing, the adults get to adult. Actually, in our gallery co-working space, where the adults get to work, and we have a co-working space for nonprofits and anybody that wants to do good. So the Atrium is really a place for people to come together to do something impactful, something good for the environment, good for the people, and good for the soul, and just to spread kindness.
And now our very own Keith Jaganatos is going to take it away for us with our sports story of the month. Keith?
March 28, 2018, two types of people woke up in the city of Sacramento, California. One likely had tickets to the Sacramento Kings-Dallas Mavericks game. The other woke up knowing that Stephon Clark was shot 20 times, dead in his grandmother's backyard. Clark left behind 2 kids and a girlfriend. But then the body cam footage came out, in which police said that Clark had a gun on him. Then he had a crowbar. Then he had a cell phone. And then they muted their mics during the body cam footage. And then all hell broke loose. Protests on the street went out to Highway 99 on the freeway. And then the protesters met at Golden 1, where they were greeted by all the fans. The protesters blocked the entrance to the Golden 1 Center. Suddenly, the real game on the court wasn't the Kings and the Mavericks. It was a tale of Sacramento battling itself. If you were on the side of Stephon Clark, you likely thought the police were wrong and unjust in how they treated Clark's shooting and his eventual killing. If you were on the other side, you likely, not everyone, but most, labeled Clark as a thug, a hoodlum, a criminal, a lowlife. And if you were on that other side, you couldn't understand how somebody could be judged based off of being shot 20 times in his grandmother's backyard. Whatever the case, Sacramento has a race problem. We've had it for some time. It just got bubbled under the surface. And all it took was this kind of act, this kind of killing, this kind of problem. Now we have an even bigger problem on our hands. But it was played out for thousands to see across the world in front of our own Golden 1 Center. Suddenly, sports didn't mean so much anymore. You know, I find it funny how people always say to stick to sports. But sports and life are intertwined. They're joined at the hip. You can't have sports without life. Sports is the greatest drama you can have. And certain factors, certain events, and certain life problems are just as crucial to the world of sports as sports is to the world of life. Clark's death set off a bomb in this city. Suddenly, it wasn't about black or white. It's not Republican or Democrat. It's Sacramento versus Sacramento. The Kings came out in support of the ideologies of the protesters who blocked the Golden One Center. And overnight, people on social media claimed they were done with the Sacramento Kings. Hey, who knows? I mean, only 75% of the team are minorities. Sure, they don't have any opinions. That's what you think. Basketball players, sports players in general, come from these streets. They come from the inner city. They know what it's like to experience what people who were friends with Stephon Clark, family members of Stephon Clark, know about. You can't have sports without having these world life problems. Sports intersects all the time with these kind of problems. It's not a race thing anymore. Sacramento had this kind of thing happen. Played out for everyone to see. Stick to sports. It's like saying, stick to anything but life. And back to you, Tiffany.
Keith, can you believe we're already at the point of the show where we're getting ready to say goodbye to our guest?
Yes, but goodbye, but not for so long. And hopefully, next time we see you, you'll be right back with us here on Access Sacramento watching another episode of SacTown Underground.
Absolutely, and our show wouldn't be the same if we didn't close out with our own musical guest, Val Starr and the Blues Rocket.
You're making me all messed up inside. I can't sleep and I can't eat. I'm feeling sour instead of sweet. Cause every time I see you, you make me feel blue. So it's out with the old and in with the new. I can't cope and I can't deal. I can't believe that you're for real. You talk and talk, you hurt my head. I wish I were alone instead. Cause every time I see you, you make me feel blue. So it's out with the old and in with the new. It's been a long time since I was on my own. I like the old woman in the shoe. And it's a strong, strong feeling in my bones. I need a permanent break from you. So please believe that every time I see you, you make me feel blue. So it's out with the old and in with the new. It's been a long time since I was on my own. I'm like the old woman in the shoe. And it's a strong, strong feeling in my bones. I need a permanent break from you. And in with the new.
SacTown Underground is not our show, Keith.
Oh.
This is our viewers' show.
Yes, and as is your viewers show, we want to get you guys on the show. Do you know anybody who's doing anything in the city of Sacramento? Do you have anybody in mind? Would they like to come and talk to us?
Would you like to be a guest here in our audience? We welcome you. This is your show. SacTown Underground, we are the people's people.
And as the people's people, we want to let you know that if you have anybody who's interested in coming on the show for an interview or even talking about any of their endeavors, peep the information below. We'll get right to you.